Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Higashi Honganji's Autumn Ohigan service. As I mention every time I'm up here, we wish that all of you could be here at the temple, but for now, we are going to continue to stream our services virtually, and we're glad that those of you who could join us virtually. Ohigan is one of the favorite times of the year for me because of the weather and everything just seems to be just right. And so I always enjoy our Ohigan services. Hopefully all of you are staying safe, as the coronavirus, COVID-19 continues. We had to deal with the recent fires, so hopefully those of you who are affected are staying safe with regards to that. And then also, for those of you in the Los Angeles area, we had the earthquake just the other night, and that kind of woke me up. And then also just yesterday, we lost someone very, very important, in our country. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and so it's a huge loss, regardless of your political beliefs. It's just a huge loss for the nation, and I think it's going to really get everybody out to vote, and so hopefully all of you will do that. Just one real quick thing about that. She wanted to be remembered as someone who used whatever talent she had to do her work to the very best of her ability, and I think she did that. So anyways, we are going to start with our service now. First, we will have Vandana T. Sarana and the Three Treasures.
Difficult is it to receive life in human form, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in the present life, then in what life can we hope to receive it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together as one, begin on the great path of enlightenment, holding in our hearts a supreme aspiration. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together as one, enter the storehouse of the Dharma and attain true wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together as one, uniting in harmony, strive to live for the enlightenment of all beings. The incomparable, deep, and profound Dharma is difficult to encounter even through countless ages of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us endeavor to thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Buddha Dharma. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Butsu.
So hopefully all of you have your printed materials. We are going to chant the Shoshinge.
Ni 時代を仏書保健所部上道院国土人伝自然幕建立無料修正願情報芸部大偶税高校私有師小樹旧生名称門実法不法無料無変更無芸無大公園の少量歓喜知恵公普段安心無償公小日学校小人生一切群上無交渉本願名号少量号非心信行願に上等学書大涅槃一子面倒願成就如来所意公出世唯世弥陀本願会公辱悪事群上会王神如来如実語同法一年気愛心普段本能特涅槃本性逆法祭永有領収支流会一味摂取信仰上昇後意の随波無明波本来心臓死運無上部心事心人天異常日光運無運無資芸名無犯百神謙虚大狂気即応朝税合悪臭一切全幕本部人門神如来偶然が仏言高大小芸者税民名分だりけみらぶ本願念部邪見教満悪衆上信行十字人に南中死南無かしインド祭天使論芸中華自治一思想現代諸公聖書異名如来本税大き釈迦如来両合戦一種五名南天竺流十大事出頭世質の財が不無形先世大乗無情報召喚二次小安楽天智難行六六信行異行指導楽億年未打無本願自年即時入陸上唯の上昇如来号大義偶然用天神菩薩増論世奇妙無下等如来永衆たら献身寺高専王朝大聖がこういう本願力へこう異道群上昇一心記入空独大崩壊越逆十大へ収集特使連芸造世界即称信用発祥し入本の林原神図入生寺恩寺王芸恩寺論 南両天使上皇乱書法さらい三蔵ルシ十条教文書宣教気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果現世が方言へとゆたりき少女死因類新人漠然本部新人法承知承知即年派実施無料公明道勝負修上回復系老者結晶道南省結明浄土活流万全時期変言終円満徳合感染症三風三神慶音言道魔法明道義一生増悪地具税死安尿解消業化
天道独名仏所依
公愛上三行脈悪公明明権年海無本願大慈会行者小樹今後鎮行期一年総合行為大と逆三人即所発祥市上楽原神公開一大教返帰安女管理祭先導終身反戦時法家二度小弁流国中悪人より勝負が薬剤費摂取中本能小弁水風剣大非部剣上昇が本流元空明仏教連民全幕本部に新宗教商工編集戦略本願空悪性現来生じ臨伝芸決地異常理承し即入弱上無意楽一致新人異能入仏教大修士公要塞無変目力悪同族自粛同心唯化心し らぬものとなき難思議を奇妙せよ頂上巧妙ならりなし牛子の夢なれば一切のご獣とこりぬ一挙でを奇妙せよ仏法商用最大一公園の仏と名付けたり三途の極安気楽なり大用具を起用せよ
観に宿読
平等聖祭東五大師林往生安楽
Great, thank you. It's nice, even though obviously everybody's wearing masks and we're practicing our physical distancing. It's nice to see Reverend Hasegawa, who I haven't seen in a while, and also Reverend Hata, who's been streaming services virtually from his home, joined us for the Ohigan service today. So it was nice to see him here. And also you may have noticed that Reverend Imahara is also here. And so we're glad that everybody's here and everybody is safe. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have our English Dharma talk. Reverend Fred Brenion recorded this for us, and he will also be doing the seminar later, which we'll give you more information about. That'll be this afternoon at 1 o'clock. But the English Dharma talk will be Reverend Fred Brenion. We are also going to have a Japanese Dharma talk, but that'll be at the very end of the service, after Ondok-san and after announcements. So this is Reverend Fred Brenion's talk. Thank you.
Good morning, friends, and welcome today to our Betsuin's annual Ohigan service, the fall Ohigan service. This usually happens right around when autumn is approaching, which will, according to my calendar, will be in about a week and a half from now. So looking forward for summer to be over and for autumn to begin, and hopefully cooler weather to start to prevail. Obviously, as you can see, I'm at home because of the COVID restrictions and everything. And while you are seeing this at the Betsuin's Ohigan service, today is actually September 8th when I'm recording this. And I'm doing this today because in part I'm experiencing my own Ohigan moment of standing at the end of the shore and looking at the final shore. I'll elaborate more on this as this goes on. But Ohigan is a special day, and I think of the holidays associated within general Buddhism, it is a very, very important and meaningful one because the other holidays deal with various aspects of the lives of the Buddha, his birth, his awakening, his parinirvana, his setting in motion the wheel of the Dharma, with his first Dharma talk to his friends. This day is about all of us, where we join with the Buddha to listen to the teachings, to come to an experience or understanding that he himself came to. Ohigan, which basically refers to the other shore and to the balance between day and night, light and darkness, life and death. Siddhartha, in the process towards awakening, had to come to that balance. He had lived a life that was out of balance. He had lived a life as a playboy prince. This brought him no happiness and satisfaction. He left home and pursued a religious life, put himself under various teachers who taught him very astute levels of meditation, so deep and profound. I can't even comprehend what they're talking about when they explain what this meditation practices that he was being taught. But he did not find any satisfaction in that to his answers to the deep questions of life about why suffering, why be alive if the end is the grave and everything. And so this was a problem for him. He later joined a group of ascetics who believed that if you discipline and torture the body, it will, your mind can sort of detach from your body and experience these great ultimate truths that they were trying to find. Siddhartha followed that for about 5-6 years, and it got him nowhere. In fact, it brought him right to the moment of death. He was starting to die. He realized if he kept going with these practices, it was going to kill him, and he'd be no nearer to an answer to his problems. At this point, by good fortune, a milkmaid came by, saw him, considered him to be a holy monk, and offered him milk, curds from the milk products that she had brought forth. And this helped to restore him, but his friends thought he had betrayed the mission and would not associate with him, that he had compromised. But in reflecting on this, Siddhartha realized that he had made a big mistake. He had followed these things, and everything he tried got him nowhere and almost brought him to absolute failure. And he realized that maybe a path in the middle between luxury and asceticism, somewhere in the middle, what we call the middle path. This brought some sense to him and much needed balance, which is what Ohigan is about, this balance between the back and the forth, the to and the fro. And so with this understanding and also reflecting that his life was saved by a milkmaid. In his society, milkmaids were just like a step below being a prostitute. You don't associate with them. You see this throughout societies, agricultural societies around the world. But she saved his life. Her act of compassion saved him. And that was something he had to wrestle with, because I don't think up to this point in time in the stories of his life, we ever saw Siddhartha receive an act of compassion. He may have been kind and good to everybody else, but someone was compassionate to him. And that was something to reflect on. And so he sat under the Bodhi, what would be known as the Bodhi tree, to reflect on all these things, and finally began to put it together and achieved his awakening, what we would call his enlightenment. I think awakening is the better term to use for this. And so his life turned. He gained a perspective of walking the middle path, a role of compassion, and finally seeing all the forces and things around him, that the source of his problems was not really old age, sickness, and death. The problem was himself and his reaction to old age, sickness, and death and the currents of life, that he was the one that was creating his own difficulties. And so the Buddha Dharma was discovered. He did not consider himself to be the inventor of it, but that he discovered it. He considered himself in many ways to be a discoverer of it. He felt that people beforehand could have arrived at the same kind of insights that he did, and that people after him could arrive at these kinds of insights. And so what we know as Buddhism was born. And so we are brought to this day to consider our part on this path. Now, usually in the telling of Ohigan, we usually tell this very, very famous story by one of the Pure Land masters, Chantal, the pilgrim on the White Path. It's a very simple story. In many ways, it's very much of a spiritual map. It's meant to guide us or to illustrate us where we are in our life. He is a pilgrim, which is something to think about. A pilgrim is a person who is on a journey trying to achieve something or trying to accomplish something. In many religions, going on a pilgrimage is very, very important. Christianity has many such pilgrimages. Buddhism also has pilgrimages. We are encouraged, if at all possible, to go to India, go to Bodh Gaya, where the Bodhi tree is, to go to Sarnath, Benares, where he preached his first sermon, to go to where Lumbini Gardens are, where he was born, and to go to the place of his death, whose name escapes me right now. But these are all places that we are encouraged to visit. And even if we can't visit it physically, we can at least reflect on the moments there and ponder what this means for our own lives. And so, where am I going with this? Yes, Chantal. He tells this story of a pilgrim who is traveling, and it's a long distance, and he is going to wants to meet a friend that, well, actually he's never met, which maybe sounds rather peculiar, but isn't this a little bit like what we have today, that we have Zoom and we meet Facebook, we meet all these people, but we may never ever get a chance to meet an actual person. But this is very, very close just because of modern technology. But still, it's nice when we can all be together. And I think we feel this way when this comes all to an end and we can finally come back to temple to celebrate, to share the Dharma with each other and everything. But this is still an incredible experience that we're doing right now. But he's traveling to meet this person. And on the way, he is being chased by, in the distance, you can hear bandits and wild animals around him. And he knows his life is dangerous, so he's moving along. Finally, he comes to a place where there's these tremendous rivers of fire and ice that are just careening against each other, and smoke and fog, from the mixing of the fire and the water, creating all this steam. It's just this chaos of sound and everything. But through this, he can see this thin little path for him to cross over. And he's wondering, can I make it? And in the distance, he hears the bandits and the wild beasts coming closer. And he knows that if he stays put, he's dead. If he crosses this river, there's a very good chance he's going to fall in either side and he's dead. But the path is there, so it must be possible at the very least. And he hears a voice behind him of a teacher. In this case, it's Shakyamuni Buddha telling him, and being behind him is sort of like the voice of the past, that you have the teachings, you know they are true, that they work. You've arrived at the point of a crisis here. You can go forward, trust in the teachings, you will make it. And from the other side, he hears the voice of the person that he's trying to reach, Amida Buddha, and his Pure Land. And Amida calls out to him through the fog and the noise of the rivers, come forward, I will catch you, have no fear. And so he starts to walk. the bandits arrive and tell him, no, this is delusional. You're going to die. Stay here and we'll take care of you. Right. But he ignores them and he goes forward. And immediately he is embraced by Amida. He crosses the other side. He's on the other shore. And he is now in peace and in friendship. There's a lot going on in this story. And it's often been graphically illustrated. I remember a picture of this moment. This is very startling because the bandits are dressed up in the religious garbs of the other sects and groups round about and around the world. There was one that I saw that had a Christian minister in it, which I found rather shocking and astonishing. But all these people from all the different sects and religions are trying to throw ropes on him. They'll drag him back. But in this picture, something was really interesting because as the pilgrim is on the bridge, on the path, there's a person who now inserts himself right in the front of the pathway, blocking the bandits and the animals. And he's dressed in sort of dark robes. And there are these ropes going overhead, but the ropes have just snapped. And this fellow in the dark robes has like this switchblade knife, and he just cut the ropes. And when you look at that portrait in this particular picture I saw, that happens to be Shinran. Shinran is the one who is giving him aid to cut him away from the things that are distracting him from false teachings or misguidedment. And he is there, as I say, that he has the pilgrim's back. I was really touched by that scene. To share with you, you may have seen these pictures, the Tibetan Wheel of Life. This is really hard in the detail. So if you look for this like on Google Images, see if you can find this. Look for this little image of a building in the corner here. This is very much like Shantao's story here, but these wheels indicate Buddhist teachings, how we're caught in the wheel of life, the wings of the 12 links of interdependence, the 6 realms of the hungry ghosts, the wild animals, the gods and the demons and the hell realms. And then in between is this inner wheel in light and darkness representing karma, how we go up the wheel, good karma comes to us, but then the karma runs out and things go bad. And right at the center is the 3 poisons, the rooster, the pig, and the snake, representing greed, anger, ignorance, chasing and biting each other. And their rotation causes this to rotate and this to rotate. Everything is rotating. But what's really interesting here is right here, between like the light and the darkness of good karma now running out, and you're standing looking at bad karma there, you can see this little white line, like it's rising up. Think of this almost 3-dimensional. It's weaving around. And finally, it comes through this, what looks like fog and smoke. It goes through and you realize that this is the white path of Shantao that the pilgrim is on. As when you pass the fog, the path widens up and there are a lot of people on this path now going to the Pure Land, going to receive the teachings of living a dharmic life. Really what an image of the Sangha. This is where the nature of the Sangha is where you go to hear the Dharma without distraction. And of course, on the other side here is Shakyamuni Buddha, who is pointing to Amida Buddha saying, go, you've got me. And the Buddha is present throughout all these inner pictures here, saying Buddha is present in every dimension of our life and saying, just go, embrace the teachings of this fullness. So again, this is a dramatic representation of Shantao's parable in this picture dealing with Buddhist teachings. And so you can see that this is really an important thing for us to consider and to take into concert with our life. Now, I mentioned to all of you that I'm experiencing I forgot to mention, the Buddha in his teachings, he talks about coming to the final shore, sort of a simile of our life, of going forward and now we're stopped. Good karma's run out now. We're looking at the bad karma that's starting to swim in, or end of life matters, or just things that are stymieing our life, that we come to this shore. And across the water, of course, the water is the ocean and represents all this wildness and the unknown and things that are greater than us, is the other shore, what we might call the Dharmic life, living the life of the Dharma. And people are running, Buddha said they're running back and forth along the beach there, just being hysterical, screaming and trying to find some other way, instead of stopping, looking and reflecting on what needs to be done. And so I think that is, again, a very important part of what Ohigan is bringing us here. Now, as I mentioned, this particular day, I am been going through what you might call an Ohigan experience. As you know, we have been plagued with many, many fires throughout the state. And recently, there was a fire relatively near my own area, the Apple Fire, which went through the Cherry Valley, Highland Springs area. A very major fire, 95% contained. And then just matter of, that quieted down. And then a matter of days ago, much closer to where I live in the city of Yucaipa, what's called the El Dorado Park Fire. Apparently some people, to celebrate the coming birth of their child, did what's called a gender reveal party, which is really the wrong phrase. It's really a reveal of what the sex of the child is. There's a difference between sex and gender, which is a very important thing to understand. But we talk about that much later. But usually what happens at these parties, the parents don't know. They want to be surprised with everybody. The doctor writes in an envelope what the sex of the child is. They give it to a baker or somebody, and who bakes a cake either with blue filling or pink filling, whatever it is, or a box of balloons with either blue or pink, which they're going to open up in front of everybody, and everybody will know that they're going to have a boy or a girl. Sadly, some people have been using pyrotechnics, and this has it went wrong, and it started a fire because there was a lot of large growth around this park. I've been by this park. There's a small little park out in the Oak Glen area with a lot of wild area around it. So really not a safe spot to do this. Anyway, it ignited and started this fire and just took off and everything. And well, they're cooperating with the officials and everything, but they could be looking at serious charges or fines and everything. So this is something, again, like in terms of Buddhist ethics, to consider our actions and our intent. A lot of times we may have good intentions, but we don't think it out. And I've been there myself. I've done enough stupid things that I should get slapped down for. I think we can all look at that. But this is a serious thing, and people have lost homes, and things have been happening. For myself, when I found out about what had happened, of course, we could see the smoke and the fires up on the hillsides over where I live up a ways. I live about 4 miles away from where this thing ignited, but it took off up over the ridges, heading up the mountains towards Forest Falls and one of the other little small mountain communities there. And it's been arching around the Oak Glen area, but it could jump the highways like Highway 38, which is the back door to Big Bear. So there's a great deal of concerns about getting this under control. I looked at a map to see just how things were progressing, and I saw that they had imposed areas for evacuation. And I looked at the map and found that I was a block and a half away from the evacuation area. That is darn close. In fact, I found later that my area was going to be an evacuation zone, and then they pushed it out and everything. So anyway, this is, I don't know if this will come through on the screen. Yeah, it's a little hard to see. Yeah, the gold area here, that is the apple fire, just where it burned. This is the, oh, okay, yeah, can we see here? Yeah, this is the fire at present, the El Dorado fire. And, and I live right about there, about that spot. It's winding around towards, past the Oakland, towards Cherry Valley, and they're starting evacuation there. But depending how this thing goes, it could ignite other hills around here. I'm going to put this down because it's really glaring. The Crafton Hills area, which would lead into Mentone and Redlands. If that went up, we would be in very, very serious trouble. And so this is obviously a matter of rising anxiety, and that while the fire, as I see here, is a bit of a distance from me, we are good chance of having the Santa Ana winds this afternoon, possibly as I finish this talk, hopefully much, much later. Thankfully, the temperatures dropped a bit, and there's been some moisture in the air, which is a help. But the Santa Anas are a very strong and powerful wind, and it could heat things up and blow embers that could jump over areas. And so this is an matter of great concern. By my house, I'm actually about 2 houses away from a bit of a wash. It's been filled in, it's been built up, but there are areas of vegetation. So if a spark was to get on there, it could come up, and well, I'm out of here. So at the moment, we're just hoping, and we have our phones set so that if there's a call to evacuate, we will get notified and leave. My wife and I are making plans on, after this talk, to start doing preliminary packing, get our clothes and things that we need to have to, if we're going to be out on our own for a few days, hopefully not that long. Our medicines, the things we need just for our general health, our dog and his stuff we need to bring. And then, because effectively my wife and I have 2 cars, we could transport a bit more. But for me, what do I do about all these books? There's more in front of me and to the side. I can't take them. So I have to make decisions. I have to think about what is important to me. What do I want to carry on? I'll leave it behind. I have my robes all packed. This will be packed away in a little bit, ready to go so I can continue to serve. The first thing I packed was that. And so this is a matter of standing on the other shore. It's time to make decisions. What is important? These are moments that come into our lives. What do we need? What is it that will get us there? A lot of these books I have, they're often for reference, past use. They're there if I need it. Other books are really important to me. So I know I will take the collected works of Shinran with me. Some books that give me some spiritual insights, certain authors I just really, really love. Some of these things are very rare. I can never replace them. I can't take them all. And so that's hard. But I reminded myself that Amida Buddha accepts me as I am, with a home and all my books. Amida Buddha accepts me also without a home and with all my books. So the thing is, I can leave. I don't know what will happen, whether fire will come and take all this, or whether it will all be here. It is an unknown. I think the chances are very good that I'm in an all right situation, but there's that ambiguity, and because things can happen. And if they can happen, they often do happen. So this is my Ohigan moment right now. For the next day or two, we'll see how well I weather this. And hopefully the next time you see me, it'll be in this room with all this around me, with a little altar there, my teddy bear right there, and everything. So this is something for you all to consider. The matter of the other shore, the matter of this shore is something that is daily. We don't know what life will bring us. We are having these fires right now, which is a terrible thing. And many of you may live in areas where you don't have any fire dangers or concerns. But I could tell you that most of us in the state of California live pretty darn close to a lot of earthquake faults. I am not far from the San Andreas as well. So it's either fire or earthquake and everything, but it's there and it's waiting. And we need to take preparations for that as well. And that's something all of you need to consider, that these things can happen and everything. Do you have enough clothes? Do you have enough water? Is your home's foundation safe enough to withstand a massive earthquake? Hopefully it won't be till years and years later, but it is there and it is inevitable. So moments of Ohigan are always with us. And so I want you to consider to take these things into heart, not just my own plight and the plight of so many others. There are many other people who have it far worse than I will ever have and everything. But we still face these moments. And the Buddha's teachings, like in that picture, the Buddha tells us, look to the Dharma, look to the goal, the life of Dharma, the life of the Sangha, the life of hearing and putting in practice and living the teachings. It's not so much that we listen to the Buddha Dharma, but that we become the Buddha Dharma. We become it for ourselves and for each other. And I think that's about as much as I've got to say on all of this. Apologize for being a little bit melodramatic and everything. That's who I am and everything. But consider and ponder this day as you watch this video, which is our temple's Ohigan service, to bring its message into your heart, into your life, and into your actions. And that's it. Let's put our hands together and say, oh, almost forgot the most important thing. How could I forget? Shinran Shonen. He wrote this saying, in this fleeting world, this burning house, all matters without exception are empty and false, totally without truth and sincerity. The Nenbutsu alone is true and real. Shinran understood about Ohigan. He understood what it was like to be at the shore numerous times in his life. He felt this way when he was sent to the monastery as a little boy, lost his family, and his uncle sent him off. He felt this way 20 years later when he left in despair from Mount Hiei, that he had not come to any understanding. He found joy in the other shore that he found in Honen Shonen, in hearing the teachings of the Buddha pronounced clearly and exactly and compassionately. And then he hit the shore again when the powers that be were upset at what Honen and Shinran and everyone were doing and entered the movement and sent them into exile. Shinran hit the other shore again when his exile was lifted, filled with joy, but then he finds out that Honen, his teacher, had died, and he turns around and goes back and continues to teach. The movement under his guidance grows, it prospers, but again he hits the shore. His son, who he sent out to help and teach, was corrupting the the teachings for his own personal gain, for his own whatever's going on. His father begged him to stop it. He didn't, and Shinran finally had to disown his son. That must have been a blow to his heart, or it must have hurt so deeply. And yet he continued further because he understood that the Nembutsu alone is true and right. This is something that I've had to learn in my life, and it is the key to Ohigan. The Nembutsu, Namu Amida Butsu, is our key to reaching the other shore, to reaching the life of the Dharma, or reaching the understanding and life of the Sangha, to understand and appreciate the Buddha. Namu Amida Butsu. If I was to paraphrase this into English, a lot of people say, I bow, but I prefer to use the word bowed. Like when somebody is bloodied and bowed, they've already been bent. It's when we have been bent and bowed by life, as we are right now with all these fires and catastrophes, we can perceive the grace, the beauty, the compassion that comes to the awakening, which is what Buddha is. Amida is unlimited compassion and wisdom. We bowed, we are in the presence of this compassion and this wisdom. And so whatever may happen in the days ahead, and not just in this event, but events that lie further ahead, we know that while we are bowed by the cares of this world, we are embraced. We are picked up like a child that is crying for help. We are picked up and held and comforted. And we find the comfort of the Dharma. We find the comfort of the Sangha and of the Buddha. And now, that is the end of my message. And so please let us put our hands together and say, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you all again in the future. Hopefully right here in this little room and everything, but wherever I am, you'll be there on the other side of this screen. And we'll be sharing the Dharma. We'll be trying to live it and help each other along through it. So wherever we are, there the Buddha is. Could be a good phrase for something or other. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Fred. As mentioned, we are going to have our autumn seminar at 1 o'clock, and I'll give you a little bit more information about that during the announcements. But for now, if you can all please rise if you can. We're going to sing Ondok-san. Okay, thank you very much. A few announcements, or just a couple of announcements. Later this afternoon, as mentioned, at 1 o'clock, Reverend Fred will be doing our autumn seminar. The theme is From Interfaith to Intrafaith. And it says here, Reverend Fred will share his experiences in coming together with others from different faiths. As Reverend Fred has said, in meeting others of different faiths, we meet ourselves, seeing ourselves in others, seeing others in ourselves. And so that'll be at 1 o'clock. There's information in the comments section. Because it is a Zoom seminar, we're going to use the Zoom platform. And so there's information in the comments for those of you who want to join us. That'll be at 1 o'clock. Next week, we will be streaming our regular Sunday service again. So please stay tuned for that, for those of you who want to join us. And as mentioned, we are going to have our Japanese Dharma talk. And so we're really happy that Reverend Paul is here. And so we're going to have our Japanese Dharma talk now. So for those of you who understand Japanese or who just want to hear Reverend Paul speak because we haven't seen him in a while, please stay tuned. 日本語の方は今原先生にお願いいたします。
はい、皆さんおはようございます。こうして私ども皆マスクをやって、そしてなるべくバイラスにかからないように努めておりますから、皆さんも同じくやっておられることと思います。今日こうして、皆さんと一緒にお参りするのは、もちろん秋の法要で、お彼岸法要で、当別院では、皆さん方に、郵便で案内状が届いておると思います。で、その案内状の中に書いてある言葉を、ちょっと普通私たちはそれをあまり見ない、ただ必要なところだけ見て、それからあまり読まないというものも、私にそういう癖があるもんですから、皆さんにもひょっとしたらあるんじゃないのかなと思うんですけど、その当別院からの案内状の中にちょっと書いてある言葉が、彼岸とは仏の悟りの世界を意味し、信州ではお浄土、そして括弧があって、お浄土とは仏様の知恵と慈悲の光で満たされた境地、場所でなく境地、そして括弧として、それがお浄土の意味で、もう一回読みますと、信州ではお浄土、仏様の知恵と慈悲の光で満たされた境地を表す言葉です。この彼岸法要は、聖徳太子の時代より仏教の宗派を超えて営まれてきた伝統ある法要であり、ことに私たち信州門徒である私たちにとりましては、私たち自身のあり方、これは生き方を仏法に照らし、人生の歩みと方向性を改めて明らかにするための尊い法縁であります。こういうふうに書かれております。で、ここで私がちょっと気になったことは、仏法に照らされる私自身もちろんそうですけど、人生の歩みと方向性を改めて明らかにする。これは一体何を言っているのか。私の歩みと私が今から生きていこうとするその方向性をもっとはっきりさせるために、私たちはこういうふうな仏法に出会うということに通して、それをもっと私は私なりに自分の方向性を決めて、そして
皆さんは皆さんの方向性をちゃんと決めた生活をしているんでしょうかと私は何かこれをね、阿弥陀如来から私は聞かれていると思うんです。それを私は如来さんと自分では言うんです。そして人にも言うんですけれども、如来さんと表現するのは私を阿弥陀如来を尊敬の心がなくなったとか少なくなったとかそんなものでなく、仏様阿弥陀如来を私の近くに感じる。その近くに感じるから私は如来さんと何かこのおじいさんおばあちゃんとじいちゃんばあちゃんという感じで私は如来さんが私の身近にいてくださるというものを感じますから、私たちはそういう表現をするんですけど、ですから私にとっては如来さんって遠く仰ぎ見る存在では以前そうだったんですけど、その仰ぎ見る存在というより、むしろ私自身、私の前にいてくださる大きな働き、私へ働きかけてくれる、そんなものがあると私が感じるんです。思うんでなく感じるんです。ですから、それを何かの形で皆さんと一緒にもっと深めていきたい。どういう感じだろうかというものを深めていきたいというのが、この案内状にある人生の歩みと方向性を改めて明らかにする。その私が生きる皆様お一人お一人が今からある人生をどういうふうにして生きるのか、それをしっかり人の真似事でなく、人の言うことを聞いてどうこうするで自分を変えていくというより、むしろ自分は今こうして生きている、それを生かされていることをどういうふうに感じ、人生の歩みを深めていくかということが私たちに問われているのが、浄土真宗であり、親鸞上人が一生涯なさってくださったことだと思います。で、じゃあ、私の言ってること全然意味がわかりませんとおっしゃるかもしれません。人生を深めるとは何とまた思われるかもしれませんけど、これね、竹中智秀先生という方がいらっしゃるんですけれども、その竹中智秀先生は、新州、大谷新州学院の元学長さんであられた方なんですけれど、専修学院と言ったら、東本願寺直接にある僧侶になっていただく人のためにある住み込みの学校、特別の学校なんですけど、それは、ここでは、例えば、この本願寺からそこへ行かれた方は、あれは清水さんが一人いらっしゃいます。フレッド清水さん。そして最近行かれた方がもう一人、スティーブ豊島さんという方が行って卒業されて、彼は今、ハワイ別院に勤めておりますけど、その専修学院の表に入ったところに大きな額がかかっているんです。その額は竹中智秀先生が書かれた額で、その額には選ばず、嫌わず、見捨てず。ただそれだけです。選ばず、嫌わず、見捨てず。ということは、選ばない。それから嫌わない。それから見捨てない。これだけ読んだんでは、誰がとかいう主語がないんですね。でも、もちろんこれは、如来さんが私たちへ向けて私たちを選ばない。私たちを嫌わない。同時に見捨てないという、これは如来さんが私たち一人一人にかけてくださる働きなんですね。ですから、それを私たちはどういうふうに生きるのか。じゃあ、 私たちは、如来さんが選ばず嫌わず見捨てずだったら、私もじゃあ、他の人、物、すべてのことを選ばない、嫌わない、見捨てないという態度で生きようと思うのは当然のことですけれども、実際にできるんですかと私は如来さんから聞かれている。ね。選ばないということは比べないということ。比べるから選ぶのね、どっちかをね。それから嫌わない。じゃあ私は人を嫌わないものを嫌わないという態度がいかほどあるんだろうかということを私は如来さんから私が聞かれている。如来さんから私たち一人一人があなたはどうですかと、あなたの生き方はどうですかと、如来さんは私に向けてあなたの生き方はそれでいいんですかで、そういう如来さんは私を選ばないというのは、あれこれ、ね、比べない。そして嫌わない。そして見捨てない。私たち自身は、まず比べて選びます。あの人よりこの人、この食べ物よりあの食べ物、あそこよりこちらといろいろ選んで比べて、いい悪いを判断します。それは私たち学校で習ってきたことでもありますし、社会全体がそういう状態なんですから、それをどうこうしましょうと私は言っていません。そして、嫌わないと。で、私は嫌わないのかって言ったら、あの人好きだから、こっちの人は私にこの前文句言ったから、もう嫌いになっている。比べている。それをどうしたらいいのかというのが、浄土真宗で私たちが一番求めている自分探しをやるかってね、自分は何なのということをね。ですから、そんな私を私なりに私のままで生きてくださいと、また言われている感覚がありますよね。私なりに生きるとはどういうことかと。その如来さんのように選ばない、嫌わない、見捨てないという感覚では生きられないからこそ、皆の働きが本願として私に来る。本願は本願力なのね。力なの。動きなの。私にやってくる動き。それが如来の動きだから、阿弥陀如来の動きだから、その阿弥陀さんが私の前にいてくださる。そういう感覚、私は大事にしたいと思うんです。それは私が考えている動向より、私に感じさせてくださる大きな如来の働きなんですね。じゃあ私たちはどういうふうに変わるんだろうかと、また私たち考えますよね。で、そんなもので、私は、これは物語を一つ皆さんに申し上げたいと思うんですけど、あるお年寄りの男性がお医者さんに行ってね、お医者さんへ行って自分の親指にちょっと傷があって深く切ったもんですから、二針縫ってもらって、それを取ってもらうのにお医者さんのオフィスに朝早く行って、行った時にそこの看護婦に自分は9時には大事なことがあるんですから、9時にはここを、ちょっと前にここに出たいんですけど、よろしくお願いしますと、看護婦さんに言って、そして、それを隣の部屋で聞いていたお医者さんが、じゃあすぐ見てあげようというんで、その傷を見て、糸を取ってもらって、そして、もうほとんど治っておりますから大丈夫ですよね。でも今、あなたは9時には大事なものがあるんだとおっしゃったのは何ですかと聞いてみたら、それは私は鎧院に入っている妻と食事を一緒にすることなんです。そうですか。いいですね、それは。 はい、ありがとうございます。でも、私のワイフは、私のことが全然わからなくなっております。ね。じゃあ、お医者さんが、じゃあ、あなたが言っているか言ってないか、あなたがいるのかいないかわからない奥さんのところへ、あなたはどうして行くんですか？そしたら、その男性は、私の妻は、私はわかりませんけれども、私は彼女が今もはっきりとわかります。私の妻です。だから私は行くんです。そういう表現をしたわけね。そしたら、それは、奥さんが自分のことを全然わからない人の前に座って、その人と一緒に食事が皆さんできるでしょうか？意味があるでしょうか？言ったらどうかな？自分にとって最も大事な妻であったけれども、もう私のことが全然わからない妻を本当に大事にしようと思うような心がありますかと聞かれたら、残念ながらね、私はそんな心ありません。そういうふうな表現しかできませんよね。本当のところね、私たちと言っちゃいけないかもしれませんね。私と言った方がいいかもしれませんけど、ここに、敬老、林間ハイツのところに特別施設という部分が一つありましてね、それは3階にあって、今でもあるんですけど、3階にあって、そこにはアルツハイマーの人たちが特別に入っていて、そこからは入ることはできるけど、出れないという形になっておるんです。どうして出れないかと言ったら、もちろん、そこから患者が出たら、徘徊落ちますよね。歩き出して分からなくなるから帰ってくるのが。ですから、鍵がかかって出れない。で、私が面会に行くと、コードがあってドアから出れるんですけど、そこにいる一人のおばあちゃんが、私、以前から知っていたおばあちゃんとその娘さん、家族を知っていたんですけど、娘さんはもう自分はママのところへは行けない、行きたくない。どうして行けないのか言ったら、娘さんはね、そこの特別施設へ行って、ママ来たよって言ったらママはケロッとしてる。自分はそれがとっても情けない、辛い、泣きたい。そういう状態のところにはもう自分は行けない。そういう表現をするのを、私は全くだなぁと思います。これは、どうでしょうかね。如来さんは私たちを選ばない、嫌わない、見捨てない。私自身、その娘さんが娘さんのお母さんを、私はその同じお母さんをもう見捨てているじゃないのか。もうそういう状態でいいのかと聞かれるのが、私は如来さんから私が聞かれているということなのね。じゃあどうしたらいいのかというと、そこにお念仏しましょうと。じゃあ、お念仏すると言ったらもちろん何万ラブ、何万ラブ、何万ラブということなんだけれども、その意味は何にもありませんというんでなく、何万ラブというのは如来さんの方から私たちがお念仏されている。それに応えていく。その如来さんはどこにいるのか言ったら、経典の中にガンジス川の砂の数ほど増します。如来と。そういう表現がしてあるね。ガンジス川というのは、砂の数ほど如来さんが増しますというのは、たくさん無数に 星の数ほど如来さん増しますって、一人でないのね。で、私たちはついそれを一人にしてしまっている。人間にしてしまっている。じゃあそれがいけないんではないんですね。私たちの我習、その我習を離れられない私だから私たちは選ばず、嫌わず、見捨てずの真反対をやっております。でも、如来さんは、それは反対じゃないのか。ね。今の養老院のアルツハイマーのお母さんを私たちが如来さんと見てはいけないんだろうか。いや、いけないどころか、それこそ如来さんだという考えでもって、世の中を見ると、この、初めに戻って人生の歩みと方向性を改めて明らかにする。私の生き方をもっとはっきり明らかにしていただくのが、この浄土真宗の教えであり、如来の私にかけてくださる働き、力、動き、私を動かしてくださっている、そのような動きが現にある、今ある、今からずっとあるという表現が、ね、今、今朝上がりました、昇進下の中に、大非無権上昇がという言葉が出ているんですけど、この大非と言ったら如来さん、無権と言ったら飽きずずっと続けて、それから上昇が常に私たちを照らしたまると、ずっと私たちを照らしてくださっている大きな働きがあるんだというのを、私はどうしても皆さんに何かを伝えなきゃいけないなと、そんな感じでありますので、こうして今日皆さんに、の時間をしばらくいただきまして、お伝えしてまいってきました。で、これでもう時間が過ぎておるようでして、これで終わりますので、皆さんと一緒にお念仏できましたら幸いと存じます。南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏、南無阿弥陀仏。ようおいでくださいました。ありがとうございます。
今原先生ありがとうございます。そしたらこれで今日のお彼岸法要は終わりました。So thank you very much. And that's it. So we'll see you next week. Reverend Peter will be streaming the service from his home. Thank you.
Thank you.